Thank you. I hope everyone had a good holiday. For me, they're always challenging because my girlfriend is into slasher movies. I've had 2.5 girlfriends who are into slasher movies, and the one reason I say half is she was from Texas and grew up hunting with her father, so she was into slasher movies more as a cultural imperative than a lifetime's choice. And yes, I know the first slasher film was Texas Chainsaw Massacre, not Nantucket Chainsaw Massacre, but she grew up hunting deers with rifles, not chainsaws, with her father. Now, holidays with her family were unique. For their anniversaries, it wasn't like my parents, where they went from paper to bronze to gold. They went from single shot to double barrel to fully automatic with a 32-round clip. And then on Christmas, they shot at poor Rudolph because they said he was in season and they needed to cull the herd. And for Thanksgiving, it's the only time in my life I've ever seen a turkey carved with a chainsaw. Now, each of the relationships has always been the same. You know, in the beginning, I tried to be Mr. Nice Guy jokes. Hey, you know, did you hear that Tony the Tiger, Frosted Flakes, he's dead? He was murdered by a serial killer. You know, I Netflixed that movie you wanted me to saw, and boy was I disappointed. I thought that was about going to see an eye doctor. And then they'll try to meet you in the middle and say, well, why don't you listen to my favorite podcast on murder? And I'm like, I've seen the women who host that. They look like my friends' mothers growing up. And I wasn't one of these teenagers who jacked off fantasizing about my friends' mothers, and I'm not going to be an adult who pukes listening to them talk about unsolved murders. And then the same thing would happen. We went and saw that movie, The Town That Dreaded Sundown, where the serial killer murdered a guy using a sliding trombone. She said that was the most erotic, sexy thing she'd ever seen. Far more stimulating than any of her vibrators, but the only problem was she couldn't figure out where to put the batteries in the trombone. And there's just a lot of other stuff about the relationship that was weird. I mean, you like it that they're messy because then you know they won't have the self-confidence to kill you because they can't hide all the evidence. And it's the only time you really want to hear about their ex-boyfriends, so you can Google their names to see if they found their bodies. And then you know when the relationship's falling apart because you like to send emojis like the thumb up and you say, hey, look, they found this guy's body part. Or the arm flexing, hey, look, they found the other one's body part. But, you know, the truth of the matter is the relationships were just doomed because we never agreed on everything. I'd say tomato, she'd say fake blood. I'd say potato, she'd want to know who dismembered Mr. Potato Head. I'd say the sky is always blue. She'd say not when it runs red with blood. And I'd say the grass is green. She'd say not where the bodies are buried. So, thank you for having me.